Okay, hey guys, welcome back to another AfroNihongo video blog in Japan. I'm right now in Kurumazuka Park in the area I live in. The dormitories are right next to it. This is the infamous beer park that I was talking about in my video about Japanese police. That's the alcohol vending machines right there. They got all kinds of beer and chu-hai and whatnot. The reason I wanted to have a video in this park is because I just wanted to show you how active and close a Japanese community is. Now, like, I live in Hirakata City, which you could also just call nowhere Japan. You've never heard of Hirakata. There's really nothing famous here, nothing special. It's just a very neutral example of Japanese society. And I just wanted to show you, like, how many people are just out and on this park right now, just like playing with their families. It's mostly families, some friends, some young friends, but just look how many people are here. It's a cold day too. Like, it's not everyone's not here because it's like the first nice day of spring or anything. But the reason this is significant to me is I haven't seen a park this active in America since I was about these kids' age. And I frequent parks in America. I go all the time because I like to run, and it's a good place to hang out with people. But this amount of involvement with family is almost unheard of where I come from. And when I do, I'm not saying there's like no families, having special together family time in parks in America. That's not what I'm saying, but it's much, much less. And what's more is, most of these families know each other very well because Japanese people take the time to get to know their neighbors. What I truly believe, and it's okay to disagree with me, is that the value of family in America is deteriorating and has been deteriorating. And part of it is due to the fact of, that's just the way society is evolving. Everyone's getting busier and busier, more individualized. We're trying to protect our privacy to the point of where we don't even, spend proper time with our families. I mean, another example is when I went to go meet my girlfriend's parents in Tokushima. I stayed at their house for 3 or 4 days, and most of the time I hung out with my girlfriend and her parents, or at least her mom. Her dad's kind of quiet, but it wasn't anything like how I usually experience visiting a friend's or a girlfriend's house in America. Because usually I walk in, maybe that person will introduce me to their parents, maybe not, and then we go down to the basement, we go down to their room, something like that. And I don't really ever, truly get close to their parents. I hang out with my girlfriend's mom a lot, even though I didn't understand all the Japanese she was saying to me. We spent a large portion of my time in Tokushima with her parents. And honestly, the thing about it is, the reason I think that's deteriorating is because of how social media has conditioned us. And that is, everyone is nervous the first time they meet maybe their girlfriend's dad or boyfriend's dad or parents. I don't know why I said dad. Parents. And because we don't want to feel that initial uncomfortableness of getting to know, someone who's close to you's parents, we try to avoid it. It's awkward for, I'm sure it was kind of like a little nervous for my girlfriend too, because, she wanted my parents, she wanted her parents to like me and stuff like that. So because we don't want that initial uncomfortableness, we avoid it, and it's totally avoidable to avoid ever meeting your friend's parents, because I don't know, my best friend in high school, Jordan, I picked him up from his house every day, every morning, take him to school, and I talked to his mom maybe 4 times ever, and it was only for a couple minutes. And it was possible because I could just, text him, hey, I'm here. Hey, I'm here. And I don't have to ring his doorbell. I don't have to, wait for him at his front steps or anything. I can stay safely in my car and text him and say, hey, I'm here, come outside, I'm going to pick you up. And that is applicable to many, many social situations. Now, there is also the argument that it is not social media's fault that family is deteriorating. And I would agree with that argument. I do think it is deteriorating by means of social media, but it is not social media's fault at all. Social media is a great tool if you use it correctly. The problem is the majority of people don't use it correctly. They use it as a primary source of socialization. And I'm not lecturing anyone. I'm definitely guilty of this. I don't know how many nights I've spent just refreshing the Facebook page or something like that instead of, talking with someone, just talking on Facebook instead of getting to know my roommate better, for an example. And here in Japan, the reason I think this is here in Japan, the majority of people don't use Facebook. The people who do use Facebook, most of the people who use Facebook use it because they have been abroad and have Western friends. My girlfriend never ever used Facebook before she was going to go to America. And she maybe sometimes used Twitter. I mean, they use the internet excessively here. I'm not saying that that's not an issue here, but it seems that there's much more of an incentive in Japan to keep families close and friends close, because friends should honestly be an extension of your family. That's how it was when I was a child before I started getting on the internet and stuff. Like all my parents knew all my friends, and it wasn't because at first my friends were the children of my parents' friends, but once I started making my own friends, even then my parents knew who they were and I knew their parents. And now I hardly ever see that, and I know that I'm removed from the situation. I'm not a little kid anymore, but even when I see families, young families, it's not near the same. And anyway, the point I'm trying to make is I'm not saying Japan's way of living is any better than America's way of living, or vice versa. But in my personal opinion, I miss the idea of community in America. Because when I was jogging around this bike, I was just watching kids play together, play with their parents, and I was just smiling. And I haven't smiled for that kind of reason in a while. I smiled for the same reasons while I was visiting my girlfriend's parents. And my psychology teacher here, who I've gotten, kind of palsy with, we've talked a lot. He lives in Kyoto with his wife, who's Japanese, and the communities there are just as tight-knit. Every one of his neighbors, first of all, there's neighborhood groups like not necessarily neighborhood watch, but just neighborhood community groups are really common in Japan. And absolutely everyone in my teacher's neighborhood knows who he is, knows what he does, where he lives, and they really want to meet with him all the time. And he actually elected to be the leader of the neighborhood group. But because he doesn't understand Japanese completely, it's mostly his wife who's pulling the chains. It really is, behind every great man there is a great woman. That teacher would be powerless in his position without her.